Not anything random.
Okay. Can you hear me and see me and everything? All good?
Yes, I can
Okay,
see you.
perfect. Awesome. So yeah, so let's start off. What's going on in your life right now? What's the latest? You've got music out. Um, tell us where you are right now as an artist and what's happening with you. We'll start with that.
Yeah, so I mean, over the last couple of months, I took some time away after releasing my debut EP, Sentiments, at the end of January. I just wanted to let the songs speak for themselves, let people enjoy them, and also sort of just take a bit of a break. I'm sure you've met many artists, and on the lead up to creating something and then and then promoting it, and then finally getting it out there, it's a lot of work. And it was really enjoyable, but I took a bit of time out just to figure out where I wanted to go next. And that's led me to now, where we are at a standalone single called Broken Hearted Club on the 4th of July.
Awesome. Well, the title, kind of speaks for itself, right? But is it deceiving? Like, is it a happy song or is it an actual melancholy and sad song? What's it all about?
It's actually empowering. It's more of an empowering song.
Mm.
It's about leaving your negativity at the door and giving Heartache a more upbeat vibe. It's the idea of going to the club with your friends, and even if you have to fake it just for that night, having a good time, letting all of the negative thoughts and the intrusive thoughts about, am I good enough? Why did they do this? Da, 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 da. It's about letting that go and having a good time. So it's very, very positive, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, that sounds good. What's the relation between sentiments and this release? You said there was time in between, you know, when somebody takes times off or takes a break, um, artistic or not, I feel like, am I to assume that you had to kind of reconvene with yourself and re-elaborate, to come up with this release? Or what was the time off about and all that, like, and what's the relation between sentiments and this new release? What changed? How have you evolved? Like,
Yeah.
what's the relation there?
Well, I think when I released Sentiments, it wasn't that long ago, let's be real. It was only like 5 months ago. So my time off has been
Five
very
months can be
small.
a long time for an artist.
But you still have to when you're I'm still promoting it and I'm still doing gigs here and there, still singing the songs. But
Hmm.
when I say mentally, I took a bit of a rest because it took me a while to get to Sentiments. Before that, I was releasing music and it was pop and then it was electronica. It was a little bit more experimental, and I was trying to find a sound for myself that I really connected to. I think for a long time I chased sounds because I thought what might be relevant to aesthetically my brand, or what I think people might want to hear. And I don't think I always got it right. Whereas with Sentiments, it was that soul R&B where I could really sing the songs and feel the songs. That's what I've always loved. So when I was a kid, I'd listen to Mariah Carey and I would sing the songs so hard. And I'd listen to Michael Jackson, the mid-tempo slow songs, Celine Dion, all of that stuff. And I'd love to sing big songs. So with Sentiments, I wanted something that was sentimental, literally. Um, and then with this, it's a progression. It's sort of I took a step back. I thought, okay, in all honesty, this is what it was. I stood on the stage singing the whole entire EP, and I thought, I need something upbeat because I was a bit like, okay, this is really slow. I don't want people to fall asleep after 20 minutes. So I was like, I need to fix my ass up and do something more upbeat, something that I know that I'd love to listen to. And that's where Broken Hearted Club came from.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Um, how does one take time off from music? Because, like you said, as artists these days, and this is kind of more like a wider, broad question about what it's like to be an artist in 2025, which
Mm.
you are inundated with. You, like, general you, like us people that listen to the music, we're inundated with content. Everybody's making content. You had to make content every day. it's kind of a, you know, the way it is these days, you know, like even to like break out, you know, you have to be very present on social media. How does an artist take time off? Like what was your approach there? You said it, you were like still promoting and everything, but how does one reset and starts like
Well,
thinking about the next release and start like putting themselves in a, you know, in an artistic and creative, you know, safe space to do the next thing? Does that make sense?
absolutely. I think what you said about the current climate and how everything's just so fast paced, it puts a lot of pressure on independent upcoming artists like myself. I think what's happened over the years, and I say over the years because I'm probably a little bit older than you think I might be. I'm now 34 and I've been doing my music my whole life, but I've been releasing or creating music since 2015. So we're now at the 10-year point where I have changed I've changed what success means to me. So success does not mean, everyone always says, "Oh, have you made money off the song?" I'm like, I don't know if that's realistic anymore. Or have you got it into the charts? I'm like, once again, for an independent artist, it's hard. For me, it was an idea of I want to create something that feeds my soul, that potentially can touch other people in a positive way. And that to me, being able to release it and actually execute it, get it out there, that was success in itself. So when I say I take a break, one, I always love a holiday. So I'm always going to go on a holiday to just decompress. But when I say I take a break, it's not really a thing like I'm taking a break and everyone's going to be, it's not like everyone's waiting for my Rihanna album, you know? It's very easy for me to take a break because I've not got people knocking down my door being like, when's the next song? So it's quite easy for me. I'm not Beyonce. But mentally, it was more of a, let me take a step back. Let me actually look, in all honesty, let's look at the where music is right now. And I'm noticing, and I'm loving it because it's my era, but early millennial music, you know, Janet Jackson's Feedback and Justin Timberlake's Sexy Back, all of them types of songs that really like you put them in your ears and you want to hit the gym, you want to get in your car and sing it out loud. You're in a club on like a classics R&B hip hop night and it comes on and you want to really vibe to it and it just has so many it brings so much nostalgia back. I see that it's becoming so popular again. Even the fact that Mariah Carey, and I'll mention her a lot during this conversation because I love her writing. I love what she does. I've always really admired her, and especially where she came from. But the fact that she's released a new song in that type of style of Emancipation of Mimi made me think, you know what? This song is literally divine timing, and it's the perfect time because it has that type of vibe. It has that sound to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And with what you said about you know, the way you thought, like started rethinking what success means, I think that's very relatable to a lot of people that are gonna listen to this, because you know our audience is very artistic. Everybody's like, you know, it's like people like music, people that love music, you know. So a lot of our audience, like a lot of our readers, like are probably musicians themselves, and you know they always think about what success is. And these days it's not really, there's not really like a right answer, because you can literally be, you know, semi known like in the mainstream and still sell out theaters, you know.
Mhm.
That's still success. Whereas like, you know, if like counterintuitively, like if you come from TikTok and all that type of thing, you blow up on one of those platforms, you might not even like, you know, last that long, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's kind of like you know, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, I guess. But how do you interact with, and or like you know, just interact artistically, I mean, with your Chinese heritage and with your being born in Manchester, or you know, like being, you know, in that cultural landscape? Like what's the, you know, like does that play like a part in your artistic persona, or
Um, I think it plays a massive part in how I approach work. I think it plays a big part in my focus, my ability to really adapt myself and apply myself to my goals. Um, I was born in Manchester. I was raised fairly British, and it took me a long time to really understand and actually love my Chinese heritage. One, because with children, they're always bullying you, they're always saying horrible things. So it took me a while to really love and appreciate um, who I am as a whole. But with all of that drama back in the day, I think it just made me a very strong person. It made me very adamant and determined to not to prove anyone wrong, but to actually make myself happy with what I want to do. And I think that's embedded in every single thing that I do. And I think that without saying is really how my dual heritage has played a massive part in anything that I do, in music, in work, in anything, modeling, or just going to the shop, the way I handle myself, the way I carry myself,
Yeah. And it probably was gonna, make you stand out, as an artist too. It's like your looks and all that type of thing, your aesthetics. How do you like who are some of the inspirations behind your aesthetics, the way you carry yourself, like on stage and all that type of thing? Like, do you look up to anyone, or have you been inspired by anybody specifically, like in the music industry or in the film industry or whatever, like arts and all that type of thing? Like, who inspires the way you want to portray yourself as a creative person?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I'd be lying if I didn't say that I wasn't inspired by Michael Jackson. Um, I mean, it's someone who's always just been at the top of his game. Really, he was the goalpost for everyone of what it meant to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky enough to be of an age where I could actually witness that mega stardom before internet, before we could actually be, before we can have access to every single celebrity and they'll have OnlyFans and stuff. I
Mhm.
actually got to live in that age where I was so excited to see that video come on MTV, and then I'd record it on my VHS and I'd play it over and over and over again. So Michael Jackson's been someone that I've always aspired to, stylistically, vocally. I don't know if you know this about me, but I played Michael Jackson in London's West End for 5 years. So I
Ah,
was one of the characters. I represented the rock era. So I did Beat It, Dirty Diana, which is my favorite. She's Out of My Life, which is a beautiful, so slower song. So yeah, I did that for 5 years, and he's always gonna maintain that importance in anything I do, really.
I bet. And what was that experience like? Because it's you have to fill in like very um massive shoes. You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of it's like reinterpreting, but you also have to put your own twist to it, I guess, or like you at least like you have to not only raise to the technical level that was MJ, but
Mhm.
also like put your own artistic skills at play. What was that experience like? What have you learned from it? What was it like? 5 years is a long time too, so
Yeah,
what
it
was
was a
that
long
period of your
time.
life for you?
5 years. It was for 5 years. It was 8 shows a week. It's a similar, West End, Broadway. It's a classic musical production, so it's very, very intense. And it's Michael Jackson as well. So when you're singing Dirty Diana, like Dirty Diana, no, it's high. You're doing it high octane all the time. It's a lot of work. It taught me stage presence. It taught me the importance of connection to audience. So eye contact. The amount of people that I just see closing their eyes, I'm like, eye contact makes a big difference for people. I say that as I close my eyes, I realized. Um, but also it taught me discipline.
Yeah.
I think me doing 8 shows a week compared to what he used to do in arenas and stadiums
Yeah.
was just a little like speck of dust. So for him to be able to do it on the magnitude that he would do it, it really taught me discipline and looking after myself.
Yeah. And how do you do that? Not only physically but mentally, because that's also another thing that a lot of people don't realize, that making music takes a lot of time. And it's not just like a physical effort, like being in the studio for like, 10 hours straight, but also like a mental effort, because you have to create, you have to make the music, you have to perform. And a lot of time there's a lot of self-doubt involved. There's a lot of, there are processes where like like you just listen to the same thing all the time, and like, you just like start doubting yourself, and you start thinking like maybe this is not right, or maybe this sucks or whatever. It takes a toll on you, right? How do you, cope with that?
When it comes to, sorry, can you repeat that question again? I've actually forgot what the question was.
No, it's mostly about like being a musician. A lot of people don't realize that it takes a lot of effort when you go to the studio all the time. Like you said before, discipline. How do you stay active? How do you stay mentally, prepared for, for a life like that? Because
Yeah.
like being in the studio for 10 hours is it's a long process. You get tired, and like, but you also have to like mentally be always like on top of your game, and like make sure that, self-doubt is not a thing for you. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of, you know what I mean? It's a tough life. How do you, keep it up like that?
I think the main thing is having a true, undeniable love for music. I mean, when I was a little baby in my bouncy chair, there's videos of me jumping up and down to Mariah Carey and Michael Jackson. And I always remind myself that music has been a part of my life from day one. And my love for music, no matter what I've been through, whether it's been being told no for shows, being told I'm too Asian for that stage, and it has happened a lot. Every single time it comes back round to the fact that ain't nobody gonna tell me, and nobody's gonna stop me from doing what I know is meant for me. And I know for a fact that when I hit that stage, or I love to perform live. So I enjoy the studio, but I don't enjoy 10-hour to 12-hour stints in a studio. I find it really jarring. I love to move. I love to perform. I want to connect with people. And also be very, very typically Northern and British, and be quite sarcastic and tell jokes and just have a good time. When I do that, I could have a whole entire year from performing, and the one time I perform, it just reinstates that. It justifies everything.
Yeah.
It justifies all of the times when you're second guessing yourself, or making yourself go crazy because you think, is this good enough? Why is nobody paying as much attention? I'm sure you've heard this from many people, but you can work your ass off on a music video and put it out, and it will get 5 likes. And then you see the person on TikTok just doing a random 30-second video that's cost them nothing in the bathroom, and it's like 100,000 likes. So it can sort of it plays on your mind, but I think it's just pure love. I just love, I love what I do. And I'm doing it for the reason of having something that I can be proud of, rather than something that I want to become famous from.
Yeah. That's the main thing. That's the main thing, is like realizing that the random thing on TikTok that people make in their bathroom or whatever, it's not the same thing that you're trying to do, So like that's why it's like it's super weird and difficult for an artist to even like keep up with the pressure these days, because like you always keep seeing like other people doing giant, massive stuff that a lot of times you just tend to compare to what you're doing, but it's a different thing. So that makes a lot of sense.
I think also nowadays, when you see big artists, very established people, one person that comes to mind actually is Nicole Scherzinger. She's in Broadway. She's just done West End on Sunset Boulevard. And if you see how present she is doing all the TikTok dances, you have to, when you see these people who are really at the top of their game, and they still have to keep up, it makes you think, it puts a big pressure on upcoming and independent artists to do it. For me, I know that I really, really need to, in a way, step up my social game, because I really don't have the time sometimes, and I don't have the energy to turn on my light, spend half an hour learning a TikTok dance, and I just haven't got the patience sometimes. But I know that I need to do it to be a part of the conversation, but it's just so difficult sometimes to it's so difficult to sometimes just click upload, isn't it?
Yeah.
when
It
it's
really is, yes.
when it's stuff that you love, like I love my music, and I've got to a point now where I never ever feel shy or I'm not. I'm really looking forward to the 4th of July. I want people to hear this song, um, and I'm happy to share it. But if it's me prancing around my living room doing all of this, I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah. Because
I know
that's not
it's
what
gonna
you
stay
do.
with me
That's
forever.
not what you do. Yeah, it's not what you do. You're a singer, you're an artist. Like
Yeah,
you're not a social media personality, you know? It's
yeah,
like,
true. But I feel like everyone feels like they have to do all of it now just to stay relevant because artists are. It has to be like a 360, you know? That's
yeah, I
how it
guess
feels.
so. I guess so. But I feel like in a way, like focusing on what you do best is probably the best move. Like it might take you longer. You might have to, you know, whatever, spend 6 more months doing it, but at least you'll come up with a product that with a final result that like really speaks about you. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
I
know. Like
agree.
it depends. It really depends on like what. There's a lot of music on TikTok. The people that make it like want to be generational and want to be about like the 30 seconds sound that goes on Instagram and all that type of stuff, which is respectable. That's fine. But
Mhm.
if you're trying to be like a full-on artist, that talks about like real stuff and wants to be like remembered one day, then it takes a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, one person who I saw a couple of years ago was Teacher Moses. I saw her in the Jazz Cafe in Camden.
Yep.
And I remember her music back in the day, and the fact that she's not necessarily releasing new music, but she's got such a core fan base that absolutely sold out that venue, and then she moved somewhere else and somewhere else, and I'm like, that to me is actually a dream. I think the idea of being able to fill stadiums is otherworldly,
Yeah.
but being able to actually have good music, have a good back catalogue, and have a core base of people that really ride with you, that's a dream. Like I'd love to have that, and
Yeah.
I'm building it, and I'm very lucky for the people that I already do have. And yeah, we should keep on going, we keep on pushing, and hopefully people like this new song.
There you go. Beautiful. Let's close with this then, since we're talking about inspirational and that type of thing. What was the best piece of advice you've ever gotten, or the best mentor you've ever had, as not only as an artist, you know what I mean, like, but somebody that helped you kind of, shape your personality, or like, or gave you like a piece of advice, or like something that stuck with you, and like that you always like remind yourself, like, was there anybody in your life like that, or?
I mean, I've been very lucky to have just a very supportive family and a very strong base. Um, I think it's not necessarily a quote, but it was always just the love and the support that my mother always gives me. Um, I'm a very much a mummy's boy, and I remember the nights when I would feel really down about my epicanthic folds, my eyes, the way they're shaped, and I'd be really upset that people would not accept me or invite me to things like everybody else. And it was always just having that love and that support and that um, the um, the affirmation of like I am worth it and I am beautiful. And I think it's just about that really. My mom is definitely that person. I know I can always call her, when I need to vent about something, and I know that she'll always try to calm me down and send me on my way, but in a positive direction.
Beautiful. Awesome. What's going on with you right now with the release? Are you doing any touring? Are you doing any, what's noteworthy here that we can share with our audience about you and your music?
Well, right now I'm releasing the song. I'm putting it out there. I'm not doing a music video for this one because music videos cost a lot of money.
They do.
I'm really actually, from our conversation, I am going to really try to push the TikTok and Instagram narrative, but more with my friends. I've got so many talented friends who are dancers. So I want to get them to listen to the song and dance to the song. And hopefully that's going to open up conversation I do have some performances booked in, but it's more of a private type of thing at the moment. I'm going to be performing in the Barbican in a couple of months, but I think that's a private event. So it's not even something that anyone can go to. But until this song comes out, I feel like it's gonna get me onto the festival stages. I'm gonna get into the clubs because it has the word club in it. So hopefully the
There you
DJs will
go.
come and do some PAs. Because right now the songs, I love my songs, but they either need a remix or I need to do a version that's a little bit more upbeat. Because if you play that in the club, they'll be asleep.
Well, until just, only until the next song comes out. So little
Exactly.
patience, little patience.
Yeah, we are so
Awesome.
close to this one, but I'm really proud of it. And I do hope that everyone enjoys it. But yeah, should be good.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. This was great. Is there anything
Um,
else on your mind? I think we hit everything, and it was a very interesting conversation. But is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I don't think so. I think everything that you asked me was allowed me to go in depth. Hopefully, I didn't waffle too much.
No, no. That's
But
the
no, I
point. Like,
really
we want to know everything about the person behind the music. You know what I mean? Like it's, like again, like our audience is interested to know like the artists as and how they do their things, and how they cope and how they like go to the next thing, and it's
yeah,
this is all that's all it's about.
I think the thing is as well, just going off one of your questions from a while back, and like I said, I've been releasing music for the last 10 years, and I've took some of it down. I've put some of it on private links and everything. But I think also where I'm at in myself, I have a very small circle of friends. I know that I can trust everyone. I know that I'm happy, I'm secure, I have a home, I have all of this type of stuff. So I'm not chasing a dream for the reason of just trying to survive. I'm actually just doing it because I love to do it. And I love to create these sounds. And I hope that someone connects with where I'm at. I love early millennial type of music right now. So I'm like, let's do a song that showcases that. I love to show diversity. So hopefully people see that and still can connect it to my other release as well.
Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, you can tell. You can definitely tell there's a lot of passion there. So best of luck with the release, and obviously, you'll see it on Mundane. So thank you so
Yes.
much for your time. This was great.
Mate, thank you so much for giving your time, and also thank you for agreeing to feature me.
Anytime, anytime.
Again,
Obviously,
actually, again.
again, yes, for sure.
Yes.
First time on video though, so this was more in depth, and I love that. I love that. Keeping our artists, as family, like that's also like a great, one of our mantras, like this is supposed to be like a platform for all of you guys that have, that have music out. So
No, absolutely. I mean, even in January when Mundane shared the EP, I was so gassed because obviously just to have a platform that looks so great and has a lot of respect, like it was really lovely to get
thank you.
that confirmation in a way, that approval.
That means a lot. Yeah, that's a two-way street, it means a lot because, it's important for us to be like really part of the community, of the international community of creatives. So it's that's our mission, that's definitely our mission. So very, very glad to hear all that. But yeah, we'll be in touch for for the next release. So
You better.
now you're in the circle. So you're
Amazing.
in the circle. Thank you,
Yes.
Alex. This was great. Thank you so much for your time. Okay.
Thank you. See you later, Luca.
Bye-bye.
Bye.